What's going on, everybody? This is Sam with Troops Mowing. I had some extra time this afternoon to film this quick video, and I wanted the topic to be on when you should hire your first employee. Before we jump into any of the numbers, my first question to you would be, why do you want to hire your first employee? Because a lot of the times I see business owners get into the trap where they went into business to be a solo operator, but for whatever reason, due to fatigue, mental or physical, or just feeling overwhelmed, they hire an employee and get into a whole nother world of problems. So my question to you would be, if you're feeling fatigued physically and mentally, but your ultimate end goal was to be a solo operator, I would really recommend taking a close look into your company and seeing what is actually making you feel fatigued, feel tired, or feel like giving up. You can change whatever variable that is. It's your company, it's your rules, change it. So if you want to get an employee and grow your company, I believe this video would help. Now, this video is going to be perfect for that solo operator that has aspirations into growing a bigger company, but they are currently stuck mowing the lawns and fulfilling the work themselves, and they are confused as to if they can hire their first employee or if they should hire their first employee. Now, what I want to say and what's going to be the backbone of all of this information for this video is you need to have your company operated off of budgeted hours. What I did before I ever hired my first employee, and actually up until late last year, so that would have put us at about a year and a half of operating our company full time. I did not run the business off of budgeted hours. Big mistake. So what you want to do is you want to understand how many budgeted hours are currently on your schedule, how many budgeted hours your employees can complete on a weekly basis, and you also want to tie into that with labor efficiency as well. Now let's dive in. So as you can see, first off the bat, that's why I put you want to operate your business off of budgeted hours, because you will be unable to forecast if/when you should hire an employee. And this goes into consideration. You can use the same math on when you should hire your fifth employee, for example. So what you want to do, what I like to do, especially if you're in that realm where you're a solo operator and you're approaching that $10,000 per month, you want to really understand where you're at and how many budgeted hours you yourself are completing per week. Now, what you want to do is you want to take your gross monthly revenue, and to make this as simple as possible without getting into the weeds too much, you want to just do your mowing revenue only. Because if you start throwing your project revenue in there, you're going to have your material costs, your material markups. It's going to give you a number that does not tell the true story. And so you want to make sure that you're going primarily just off of your labor revenue. Now, if you are tracking your labor revenue apart from your material markups and versus any e-fees or dumping fees or delivery fees, if you have that true labor revenue number, use that here. If you don't, just take your mowing revenue only. So let's say, for example, you're a solo operator and your gross monthly revenue for your mowing accounts comes out to $8,000. Now, once you have that, you also want to understand what your hourly rate is to the customer. When I was my first year, especially when I was a solo operator, I literally had no clue what my hourly rate was to the customer. I quoted everything blindly, and yet we still have turned into a successful company. And I don't mean to brag or say that to fill my own ego. I'm just saying that if you're not currently at the spot where you have all of these numbers dialed in, you are fine. You will figure it out. You want to figure out your hourly rate to the customer as soon as possible. And the way you can get that, and you can look at other videos too on the internet. I believe I have one on our account. You want to understand how you break down pricing, how many square feet you can mow per minute, and then what the price is to the customer. Run some quick, easy math, and that tells you your effective hourly rate. But for this instance, let's say that your hourly rate to the customer is $60. What this is going to do when you have a second employee, whenever that time comes, if that time comes, so if you choose, is this is $60 per hour per person on the job. So if you have two people on the job, effectively you will be charging that customer $120 per hour for that time spent. Now, granted, you're going to be more efficient having that second person, but you're not going to be double as efficient. There's going to be some waste because if you're mowing and your employee is weed eating and blowing, the employee or you is going to be in the truck for a minute or two or however long that may be. That is waste, and that's not as efficient or double as efficient as you were solo. So I just wanted to touch on that because if you get that second employee, you don't want to charge $60 per hour to the customer if you have two people, because then you're losing money. Now you're only really charging the customer $30 per hour. What you want to do now is you want to take that gross revenue or your true labor revenue, divide that by your hourly rate. I don't have a calculator on me. The phone is filming me. When I did this math, I believe it was like 33. So what that gets you is that gets you your monthly budgeted hours. Or no, I'm sorry. I think the number's over here. Yeah, I'm sorry. It gets you 133. So 8,000 divided by 60 is 133 budgeted hours per month that you have completed solo. Now you want to break that down into how many budgeted hours you're completing on a weekly basis. So if you take 133 divided by 4, that comes out to roughly 33 budgeted hours that you yourself have completed per week based on your true labor revenue only. A good metric and a good KPI to keep track of and to aim for is to have your labor efficiency be 75% or greater. Now what that means is if you are working a 40-hour work week, being 75% efficient would mean that you're completing 30 budgeted hours in that work week. 30 divided by 40 is 75%. That's how I'm getting that number. So what this tells me is you are currently completing 3 additional hours. 3 additional budgeted hours per week. That comes out to 12 additional budgeted hours per month. Now, if you were to bring on an employee, in theory, let's imagine he or she comes completely trained day one, ready to get after it. In theory, you are going to have only 3 budgeted hours that you would be accountable for as the owner. Now what that tells you is if you're trying to account your time in terms of budgeted hours, and you can do 30 in a week, you now have 27 budgeted hours, aka 27 billable hours of your time not being spent. Now that time needs to go towards marketing and upselling and sales and revenue producing activities or activities that lead to revenue to continue to grow that company. Because what I've seen in a lot of business owners is they get that first employee, they get trained up, and then they kind of go kick their feet up and think that they've made it. Your business will fail, and that is without question. There's no culture that you're creating that as soon as that employee leaves, you're going to feel like you've taken a huge step back. So your time here needs to be spent building that truck that you had once as a solo operator, building it to sustain 2 people in that truck. Because as soon as you can get to a spot where you're completing 60 budgeted hours, for example, in one truck, you are now at the time where you can hire your second employee. Now that truck is ran completely without you in it. There comes some issues with that. That's why when you have that first employee in the truck with you, you need to establish standards, uphold those standards, and start establishing a culture. Because what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to almost step back into that solo operator realm where you have that second truck and you're completely building up your own route as a solo operator. Now, if your goal is to continue to build this company to whatever it is that you imagine, and let's say that requires 10 plus employees, you're going to have to keep doing these stepping blocks and stepping blocks and stepping blocks. After a little bit of time, and what I found for us that worked was after you had 4 employees, 2 employees in each truck, you almost don't need to be in the field 100% of the time. Because at that point you're bringing in roughly $40,000, I'd say $40,000 to $50,000 in revenue per month if you have 2 completely filled up, completely scheduled up 2-person crews, and if you've increased this hourly rate north of $70 to $75 per hour to the customer. I hope this math helps. I hope everything that I've said is actionable and can help you get that first employee. Now, if you have any questions at all, I'm going to leave my email down in the description of this video. I would love to hop on a call with you, and I would love to maybe answer any questions or coach you through any of the problems that you may have. Now, granted, I'm not at the spot where I can help business owners that are making $1.5 million in revenue a year or more. I'm not going to be helpful to you. In fact, I would like to get on a call with you and pick your brain. This is going to be more for the people that are making less than, let's say, $100,000 a month in revenue. I can help you, and I look forward to meeting you soon. So if you could, please click like, please click share, and please subscribe. I'm trying to take more of my time to film these videos and push out actionable content that will help you grow your business and ultimately take control of the life that you want. So like I said, please subscribe, please share, and in the comments below, let me know what further content you guys would find valuable, and I look forward to filming that for you soon. Take care.